listen.
Yeah, because
So this is the second class of our masterclass. It is going to be in two pieces, one theory and one is going to be a workshop. And for the second part, I just want to put you into groups and we will talk about the details of that. But before starting, just to make sure that we know each other a little bit better, how many of you guys are the first timer in Thursday Gathering? Nice. No matter what we do, we always have a lot of first timers. That's really good. And how many of you guys attended the first class? It's just like half. So just to explain a little bit about what we are having, I'm going to make it into 5 minutes, so don't worry about it. But at least I want everybody to have a better understanding of where you are and why are you here. So first I want to tell you what you can expect. To understand the startups, first you have to have a proper definition of what a startup is, and then you have to have a holistic understanding of everything you need to do. The problem is that a lot of ways you can learn that is by fragmented ideas. Somebody can teach you how to do ideation, somebody teach you something totally different in marketing, somebody teach you something totally different in sales. And the moment you want to put all of those bits and pieces together, it doesn't fit. So that is the problem that we're going to solve here. However, we only have 8 classes. So we do not have that much time to go through the depth of the practicality of this. But we do our best to make sure that you would leave with a proper understanding of it theoretically. However, we have a proper Google Classroom, meaning that this is not going to be over here. There is going to be a place you can try to go there, talk to each other, get the content, see the video, and then try to do what we do not have at the time of this 2 hours later by yourself and by other people. At the beginning, we have 2 classes that they are around ecosystem. The first one was in depth. We went through the definition of what ecosystem is, what are the different parts of the ecosystem. And now we're going to have a recap, and then in the end, we're going to have a workshop. So we're going to be in different groups. Every group is going to be one part of the ecosystem. And then we try to somehow simulate how this ecosystem should talk to each other. I prepared a lot of stuff for you. I will share it with you. But just to be able to bring everybody up to speed, every 2 classes are the same. Every 2 classes, to an extent, they are connected with each other. So the first, as I mentioned to you, was the definition of understanding the ecosystem. The second is going to be about building a stronger ecosystem. This is what we're going to do together. The next 2 classes are going to go around. First is going to be the source of funding. I meet a lot of people that they say that I'm looking for money, but I don't want to give shares. And how should I attract venture capital? The VC is not the only source of funding. So we go through all different types, and then you will be able to understand exactly what really suits you the best. We will go through the investment readiness. It's also not the fact that because you have a product, you can just go and talk to the VC. You have to have some documents, you have to have some papers, you have to some spreadsheets and numbers and everything. So when you are going to meet the VC, meet the venture debt, meet anybody else, you have the documents that is needed for your company. When it comes to 2.1, it means that we are in the professional part. So you have an idea, you have a proper understanding of it. Hopefully also you have a way to get that money out. Now is the time for you to do something about it. So the first one is going to be about the marketing strategy. Second will be about the sales and distribution. Third is going to be about the scaling up. Just remember, when you are trying to get 5% of the company and try to make it into 50%, it is not the same that if you want to go to a new market. So the idea is that, again, we're going to separate them into international and global expansion separately than the normal part. If you don't mind, as I mentioned, because there is a proper class and everything as a material regarding the videos and everything is going to be here. Please, everybody, scan this with your phone. If you already registered here, it takes literally 1 second for you. It just shows that you registered in this specific class. And then I will be able to contact you by email and I will be able to share the rest of the material with you.
But we did it last time.
Then you registered on the first class. Every class is different. To be honest, guys, we have to fix this part a little bit more in Venture Cafe, and that is the fact that you do 2 things. You come to Venture Cafe as an event, as a Thursday gathering, but you can also tell us as organizers that right now you are in one specific panel. Then we can help you with feedbacks, then we can help you with sending you the content and material. So, did everybody scan the QR code? Yes?
Yes.
Anybody has a problem with scanning this?
No, just
You want to give me feedback?
no, yeah. Good.
Good guys. So going to the next one. I really don't want to spend too much time on talking about the elements because we discussed it and there's a proper video to talk about it. Just remember guys, startup is not a company that just started. That is a very primitive way and I just want to make sure even if you did not attend the first class, at least right now you have a better understanding of that. The startup that we are discussing, it has nothing to do with technology or based or democratizing things or these days AI and blockchain. What we are discussing as a startup, just going to start from here, is a temporary organization that uses search for a repeatable and a scalable business model. So just to be clear, if you are having a really good company, but your business model already existed, you are a great small and medium enterprise. There's nothing wrong with what you do, you're just not a startup. And at the same time, a lot of things that we are discussing, if you are a small and medium enterprise, you don't have that level of complexity, so you do not need those problems. So you're not downgraded or upgraded by being an SME or a startup. It's just different, right? And at the same time, the search is an important part of it. Because if you do not know where you are going, you have to have a better understanding of where you are and what you do. Another idea that also it really helped is the fact that I totally recommend reading the Lean Startup altogether as a book. It's a pretty much a standard that a lot of things that it is, again, is not the time just to put it into a 2-hour chat here with you guys. You will be able to have it in the book. And the definition here is also is a human institution designed to deliver a new product or a service under the condition of extreme uncertainty. We don't know what is happening. What is going to happen in 5 years? The reality is that we don't know, but we do our best to estimate it. And the last one that is my favorite one is a company that is confused about what the product is, who the customer is, and how to make money. What's going to happen later? You would be able to be a proper corporation, and then you have a stable organization that you would be able to understand what you have to do with it. We talk about the elements of the ecosystem, how they are interacting with each other. There are elements that they are bits and pieces. There's a building that you gather. This is a part of an ecosystem. A person who is here to support you as a mentor, as an advisor, as a VC. There are also elements. So elements are dead and alive at the same time. If I'm speaking fast because this is a recap of what we did in the last session. Also, this was a very important thing that I wanted you to know, that a lot of things that you see that are new right now, they might even just be an inspiration of something way older, and you just learn how to make it a little bit better, and then you create a huge innovation out of something that maybe lasted, maybe even was 100-year-old or even more. This is also for especially a lot of you that, how many of you already work in a corporation? So that's also the point. Startup doesn't mean that I'm going to quit my job right now and I'm going to start doing something. So on the tinkering part, you can do both. You can at the same time try to think of what you really would like to build for yourself and work on your idea. But when it comes to the red part, this is the real start that you're going to have. And trust me, if you are in the growth stage all the way to the point 3 to point 4, it is impossible for you to have 2 jobs. Even when you see people such as Elon Musk, they are trying to do 2 of them, they go after the stage of the growth. They already have a stable company, everything is on the routine. All they are doing is to bring it to the next level. We talked about the roadmap. It was a very lengthy conversation, so I'm not going to go through every step of it in detail, but just remember, start with an idea. You try to create a formation of your company, both by the people that they are in the company and at the same time by the structures, what you have to do, what you should not do. And then after that, you start getting some more money for your company, you start developing different strategies for yourself, you try to go to bigger markets, you need more money, you go to the next round of investment, you try to scale your business, you try to find maybe I can add some more product or I can go to different countries. After that, you try to somehow exit. That exit can be initial offering that you do in the stock market. You have a question?
Is it obtainable, this presentation, or shall we take pictures?
Very good point. Did you scan that QR code? That's the way that I can send this to you. So two things are going to be available for you. One is going to be this presentation. Two is going to be the video that is going to be here. So also in case that you, because I did not expect you that you just come here, you already watched the first video. But just to remember that you are going to have the second, like the first and the second video both on the Google Classroom. Perfect. So at some point you will find a way to exit your company, your startup, and then even after that you have a transition. There is a new person who is the owner of the company, either this is inside a stock exchange or somebody acquired your company. That's again somewhere that you go. And then the last part is the impact of and the legacy. If you are making imposts, and even if you sold your company, people are just saying, okay, so I used to learn how to do things with Poczta Polska, with the post office, and now I have to learn how to do things with a post box. This is, even though the company doesn't exist, it's still the legacy of that company goes with it. Also for those guys that remember that we gave a free ticket to our kickstart competition for the person who remembered that. So, going back, this is where we stopped. So we are going to do two things right now. I'm really trying to be on time for everything. So for the next half an hour, what I will do is talk in detail. I'm going to speak way less fast as what I was doing because that was a recap of what those elements of a startup ecosystem are. I am going to spend, let me just make it a bit more democratic. How many of you guys would like to have a Q&A in the end? Okay, it's like 2%. So I would try to do the half an hour to talk in detail about the elements of the startup ecosystem. We're going to have a quick, let's just call it a breathing time, a recess, so that you will be able to go outside, grab some water, and then come back in 15 minutes. After, when you come back, I have here top 5 questions for 5 different parts of the ecosystem. Of course, I could put them into 50, but then that would not, first of all, fit the time that we have, nor we have enough people to be able to bring you into like 20 different sectors. So I will put you into 5 groups. One of them is going to be VCs, it's going to be media, it's going to be corporations and other sectors. And then I even give you 5 main questions to ask each other. I would like you to somehow simulate how the ecosystem is supposed to work together for half an hour. And then after that, for 15 minutes, I would like you to come and challenge me. When I was talking to corporations, I felt that something was not really comfortable for me. When a startup was talking to me, I didn't understand something. I was trying to talk to the media, but I did not know why I need the media. So this is a way that you have a better understanding, because this is the last piece that we're gonna have in the startup part. That is not just gonna be theory, or you just understand something here, and the moment that you're really in practice, you want to talk to a media company, to corporations, you kind of feel like, okay, so I know what they do, but how should I talk to them? Because remember, communication is as important as knowing what that element is doing. So, I mean, of course, there is no startup ecosystem without a startup, right? So if you would like to really try to go somewhere, at least by definition, we have to understand what the startups are and what they do. There's a huge problem, because startups, unfortunately, are not a class of companies. You can just look at a company and say that this is a publicly traded company or this is a private company. But there is no way for you to check a company and say that, okay, so these are the startups. That is unfortunately the issue, that whenever you are trying to go through databases, unfortunately, startups are mindset. And that is really hard to just say that I wanted to go talk to a startup or I want to talk to a corporation. I had meetings with Microsoft that they say that we're a startup. So it's very hard to really just convince a person that is a startup or is not a startup. But you know the definition of that, so to a good extent you would be able to separate it from each other. There is no startup also without the founders and entrepreneurs. Guys, nothing is for everyone. Please accept that part. Some people treat startups as kind of like a pyramid scheme. You know, it's like you can be an entrepreneur and you can be an entrepreneur. Some of us are good at being followers, and this is good. We have to understand our role and then fit into that part. Something that I will say very, in a very humble way, founders usually have a gut delusion. You have to understand that aspect of that. Most of the time you talk to someone, you say that, you know what, everybody is just having wooden glasses, and then the moment that you want to make it in plastic, people are not going to use it. And I was like, I will change their mind. And I was like, yeah, but nobody's using plastic for a cup. I was like, I will change everybody's mind. It's like everybody's wrong and I'm right. It's very scary to be that person. So just remember, entrepreneurs are a little bit of a different type of approach than a lot of others. So the moment that you feel that if you want to start something, you have to see the pattern. When you would like to start something, you have to make sure everything has to be planned for you. You are way better fit for a person who will be a part of the startups. Not everybody that is a startup has to just be at the front and then try to be the founder. The other part are talents, basically. Do we have any students here? Yeah, but you are just a fake student? Part-time student. This is also a very sad story. You can sit down. We also have a very sad part that most of the time when I talk to my friends that are students, they always feel that they're not a part of the ecosystem. You're the backbone of the ecosystem. If you're not having talents, if you're not having the STEM graduates that they are basically just teaching others how to do math and engineering and others, you cannot just walk around and talk about your grand ideas when nobody's there to execute it, right? The other part is incubators and accelerators. I'm not going to go through the details of the difference between them. Let's just call them accelerators for the time being. You can do two things. Stay here, learn something, read the other books, talk to other people, watch a YouTube video, or literally come with your idea in the beginning and then let an organization kind of brings you through the whole process. They will guide you through how to do your marketing, how to do your sales, how to do your business plan, and then by the end, at most cases, you will lose some equity of a company, but you make sure that you're not wasting your time. I would say a DNA of this part of the world is one thing, guys. Anybody from the US, UK here? Two. Yeah. People here don't want to fail. You have the worst idea in the world, they said, I will fix it. This is an issue because we have to understand that what we're doing has to have a customer, has to have a target. Would you like to come to my place and listen to the music that I play? And I was like, you're very bad at playing piano. The answer is no. I mean, yeah, I might be able to practice 10 years, but then the person who was the only person who wanted to come and see what I'm doing is already gone. So it's better that I would just see that maybe I have to do something else for myself. That is one of the reasons that sometimes accelerators are a very good place for you. Because you will just go there and very quickly they just say that, you know, you have to pivot. You're a very good person at understanding something, but maybe you have the wrong instrument. Or maybe you have the wrong approach to that instrument, and then try to fix that part. There is no ecosystem without governments and policy, guys. Some people come here and say that why we don't have VCs in Poland. First is tax. It's not about good startups, it is not about good weather, it's not about good beer, it is about the government. So the moment that you provide an ecosystem that provides equity-free support for companies, that they provide support for places like, how many of you guys paid for this class? Seriously? No one? Yes, good. Thank you. Yeah, it just goes directly to my pocket. So this is how it works. The moment that you see subsidies, the moment that you see some people provide free services and somehow incubate you, these are the ways that without the support of governments and local authorities is impossible to happen. So remember that even when you're talking to the mayor of the city or people that they are somehow providing policies, they are also a big part of the ecosystem that we're building together. Corporations. Please don't beat corporations. Like, this is a very nice approach for startups. They're anarchists. I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna destroy that corporations. One, you're gonna be one of them, trust me. I mean, unless you're not gonna be successful, then 90% of startups are not successful. Two, to be a global leader, you need them to go there. What's the problem with them? Guys, anybody knows why startups run faster than corporations? Maybe I can get a feedback.
What do you mean run fast?
So hypothetically, right now, sorry?
They're smaller.
They're
Faster
smaller.
decision making.
Faster decision making. This is the reason. Like when I want to create something new, as a corporations, I have to go with my compliance department. I have to talk to my communication departments. I have some colleagues that, you know, like we share the same organizational structure. So just to make one decision, sorry, let me make it better. Just to announce a decision, sometimes you need 3 months of decision making. But in startups, just CEO and a CFO, if there is a CFO in the startups, because it's a waste of time, guys. You know, who cares about money, right? So, you know, a CTO and a CEO, you know, and your COO, that is your brother, and he really needs the title, join you. You just say that, you know what, from tomorrow, we're just going to be blockchain based, you know. But you're not going to go to a random organization and just say, you know what, work. So that's the fast part. So smaller size of the organization,
Less of bureaucracy.
less bureaucracy. One more time.
More appetite for risk.
More appetite for risk. There is something very important to what you say. I will make it shorter if you don't mind. The real reason that the startups are so fast is that they have nothing to lose. Guys, that's the problem. When you have $1 billion reputation, first you keep your $1 billion reputation, then you build something on top of it. But when this is just me and my brother and my, I don't know, like my sister, then you're bored, you're doing something, and if this is not gonna happen, something else is gonna happen. Yesterday I was in a startup pitch, one of the startup, that's her startup pitch. She says that I sold my van, I sold everything that I had, and this is the startup that I built behind. Barely you see startups like that. Most of the startups you see is that they have a Gucci clothes, and they come here and they say, I need 2,000 zloty. You know, so it's way easier just to pivot everything, because also this is not my money, this is somebody else's money. Another joke that I always have also with the startups and the VCs, they said there were two neighbors. One neighbor went to the other and said that, can you please just borrow me your scissor? And the guy was like, sure, I mean, I can give you the scissor, but like, don't you have a scissor? And the other guy said that I do, but I want to cut a wire and it's going to destroy my scissors, so can I have yours? So second approach, right? So when you are trying to do this, it just means that I can do whatever I want. That's why corporations are not as fast as you, but don't destroy them, because they have a solid background, they know exactly how the strategy works, and you should know how to work with them. The support organizations. There are lots of companies that they need you. Especially one of the things that I really like is called the reverse pitch, meaning that all of a sudden you see an organization comes over and say that I need an AI solution to be able to implement in my marketing and sales department. And then you as a person with a good idea, you can come back and explain how you have to do that. They might even help you with the research and other side so that you would be able to help them. Again, because what we discussed, because you have nothing to lose, they have a lot to lose, they have bigger size of the company and a lot of risk factors that will stop them from working faster. Media organizations, again, the DNA of this part of the world. People do stuff, but they don't talk about it. In the US, people first write a press release, and then after they think, I was like, okay, so what do we have that looks like our press release? Here, something happens, and even if there is going to be news, it's going to be in Polish. And then you meet somebody from Germany, and I was like, seriously, you didn't see what I did? And I was like, look, where should I read it? And I was like, Gazeta Wyborcza, page number 4, you know. Also, I didn't want to really brag, I just said that I'm an entrepreneur, you know. So be specific and be out there. The media are the key for you, that people will have this brand awareness. There is this part that I would talk about it in detail when it comes to the marketing, and it's called the top of mind. Top of mind is not what you can achieve in a day or two. When you just would be the best co-working space in the city, if the second best co-working in the city would promote co-working, they are not going to get anybody. Why? Because everybody's smart these days. They research co-working space and they go to a competitor. So if you want to be from just a player to be the top of mind, you have to spend time and energy to be that person. Of course, your product can talk for itself, but media, unfortunately, is the gatekeeper. So the moment the media is not going to support you just to be out there, then you're always going to be a very good person, but outside. I am generalizing, guys. I work with cybersecurity startups, and my job was to make sure that there is no news about them. So it's not that everybody has to do everything the same. It's a big generalization. As I mentioned, there are ways that we can try to narrow it down and talk about it, right? If you are having a very secure company, but the logo of your security company is outside of your building, you are telling a person who wants to enter what to do. So there are some times that you should not be the top of mind because you don't want normal customers. You will contact your customers. If you are a venture capital that would invest $1 billion and plus, you don't need to be the top of mind. There are 10 companies that they need your money. You know them, you can find them. There are details that we can talk about it later. I'm not really going too much into details of that because I really want to make sure that I have time for the rest of it. But remember, there is an element that it is not being covered in 99% of the reports of a startup ecosystem, and that's culture. This is a disaster, guys. Like we do some stuff in MIT, great university, great culture, everything is good. And then I copy something that is happening in Boston and I just put it in Warsaw. It destroys Warsaw, guys, not build it. You just have to see exactly how these elements are just somehow getting into each other. If there is an element of this part of the world that is better, we absorb that. And if the element of the Boston is better, we just put it where it's really needed. So remember that as much as ecosystem needs a place to stay, as much as ecosystem needs a corporation to support you, as much as this ecosystem needs money to somehow facilitate everything, you also have to, one, understand the local culture, and at the same time respect the local culture. You cannot just randomly just say that, you know what, I'm from New York, I'm gonna do exactly what I did in New York, and people of Warsaw have to learn how to work with me. So a big part of an ecosystem is also learn how this culture and communication system works in the local part that you have. Another thing that is a very big element is, guys, again, it might not be an A to B part, is not in the connection between most elements, but this is something that surrounds everything, and that is the success story. A lot of guys come over and it's like, oh, Estonia is the best place to be. Mainly is because of one success story. When Skype get out of Estonia, everybody just said that I can be the next person, and that's an issue. And again, some of the examples that I have, because they are perfect for this, so I just always keep that, so I'm not gonna just randomly bring something else, is I was teaching at the university here in Warsaw, and then there were maybe like 70–80% women, and then they came back and say that the reason that we cannot do something here is mainly because we don't have a role model. We're not like Americans or British people that, you know, they did those success stories, so we need the success story to make it happen. And my answer was, okay, it's like Marie Curie is from Warsaw, like it's in the city center of here. And if a lady with 2 Nobel Prizes is not enough motivation for you. So it's a mindset. It's an excuse for a lot of people to do something. Trust me, nothing changes Lithuanians from Estonians. It's just a matter of the fact that I can do something and the others can't. But trust me, having those success stories and knowing those people is going to make a huge difference. There is a difference also, guys, and that is the point that a lot of people think startups are like 3 things. Especially these days, I was mentoring for Techstars, and I would say 99% of the ideas that they were there, they were AI based. And I'm doing this for 10 years. And guys, every single time, all the people that they come to make an idea is based on the trends of this day. Meaning that like 5 years ago, everybody wanted to have everything decentralized and everything had to be blockchain. And you can just keep going back up to 10 years before. It means that it is not about what I think is good, it's also I just feel like what did I hear for the past few years? So I'm going to keep building on top of what I have. So right now, if you would like to have a startup that would just sort these chairs from here, it is definitely AI based. It's not even machine learning. It's artificial general intelligence to make it happen, right? And then, I don't know, like in 3 years, everything is gonna be with virtual reality, then everything is gonna be there. I just want to give you a little bit of perspective into some other aspects that you can have. As I told you, this presentation is gonna be yours, you can read it in detail. I just want to give you one tiny sentence that might help you. There is F-commerce and e-commerce. Just remember the difference between these two. E-commerce is an electronic platform that will help you to find other things. F-commerce is a fast commerce. When you are working with something like Glovo and Uber Eats, they have an algorithm. They are not the same. Sometimes you can create an algorithm where it connects people faster together or connects people better together. They are not exactly the same. So Allegro and Uber Eats, they have nothing in common to an extent. Health companies, huge issue. Right now, especially if you take a look at what is happening with post-pandemic and everything, lots of ideas and lots of opportunities that you can always try to grab yours here. One of the first elements that had to be disrupted was fintech. Why? Because before, people were seeing each other face to face, so the financial transactions can always in person. But the moment that somebody from China wanted to buy something from Italy, they had to find a way to communicate with each other, not face to face. So the fintech was one of the first part that was, to a good extent, disrupted. Software as a service, a big umbrella that you basically try to provide something for people, but that is in the form of a software. Machine learning, deep learning, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, clean energy, food sector, ed tech, prop tech, logistics. You can see the list is long. Just remember, guys, not all startups have to be IT. Not all startups have to have these luxurious applications and everything. If your idea is to gather 10 people together, make them just have a better picnic experience in Warsaw so that they will be able to do a cultural exchange, you should not start with writing codes. You should start with finding 5 people. You should start with bringing them to a park and try to see how that experience works. The moment that the scale is big enough that you feel you cannot anymore do it in person, then the technology comes. So just remember that this is just some of the sectors that you can try to have. And a startup has nothing to do with only web-based or only technology-based. It is just a matter of the fact that the way that I bring people to that park, nobody did that before. Did you guys hear this orange umbrella here in Warsaw? One person did it.
Umbrella?
Sorry?
What umbrella?
Exactly. Right now there are all the colors of this. I mean, I'm not going to go with the other type of it. Don't bring me there. But what I'm trying to put it here is the first person who brings a different type of making a business is having a startup, and the others that they're copying this, they might not get the same result, but they are a very profitable small and medium enterprises, right? And now we're going to talk about the point that is not very important, but that's called making money, right? So it's not almost that much that you're doing something in health tech or you're doing something that it has a specific sector. Okay, you have a solution, but how are you going to just make money out of that? This is another element that the moment that you would like to talk to anybody, it comes as a very important question to have the answer to. Subscription model, like Netflix, Spotify, Adobe, lots of other platforms. You have the platform there, but if you want to use it, you have to pay a monthly amount just to do that. E-commerce models, you just have a marketplace, people come over, you get a commission out of what you have there. You have freemium models. Again, you can go back to Netflix. Guys, I put this picture here so to show you something. It's a soup. Another thing that I also want to be very honest with you. I could just write one word in front of everything that I put here, Amazon. Amazon is a subscription model, is e-commerce platform, is a marketplace, is freemium, is advertising model, is on-demand model. This is a soup, guys. If you really want to have a successful company, you should have a soup of different revenue models. It's not that you only have one revenue model, and if you don't want to have that, you're not my customer. So the best way to make it happen is literally to have a bit of everything. Even when you see marketplaces the same as e-commerce models in some levels, there is a reason behind it, because most of them, they use multiple different revenue models together. Advertising model, I would not go there, but please read the book that is called Life After Google. It really helps you to understand the problems and the solutions with the advertising model. It's a very strange model. On-demand model, again, you don't have something, and the moment that you need it, somebody will pay for it. It's especially these days, it works very well. Affiliate model. I am not going to pay you anything, but the moment that you add some value to me, then I will pay you back because you did something for me. Direct to consumer, it's a mess. I would never touch that. Imagine that I need to call every single one of you by your first name. I know what your allergies are, and at the same time, if one of you do not like me, then I have to leave the class. Direct to consumer is a very tough business, right? So you're having, I don't know, like a food for dog, like it's perfect, direct to consumer product. One of the dog dies because my food is having a problem with that dog. My whole business is down. In a B2B, I have 2 customers. I made it 3. I can just live the rest of my life with that. So direct to consumer, even though sometimes it's a very easy product to revenue model to have, it can be very complicated. I will talk in detail about crowdfunding, guys. Extremely underrated way to do revenue models, and I definitely say right now is the time for you to take advantage of that. because we are very well connected, but at the same time we think that if I need 100,000, I have to find one person with 100,000. You can find 1,000 people with 100. You can find 100 people with 1,000. You can find your people and then get it way faster and better. And also remember, there are multiple ways to do crowdfunding. You are an artist, what you can do is that you can sell your tickets through the crowdfunding. They buy your ticket ahead of your act. All you have to do is to express what you really want to do with your act. You would like to paint Palace of Culture. What you have to do is a cultural creative crowdfunding. You just say that how many of you guys want the palace to be white again? And then all of a sudden you just find 1 million people who want to spend 1 zloty, and then you have 1 million to do something that is for your city. Or you just say that I would like to create a new record label and I need 1 million zloty, but I don't have the money to make it happen. But every person, for every 50 PLN that they put on my record, I will give them 1% of the profits. So you can do multiple ways to do the crowdfunding. And in many cases, it works way better. What does not come with the crowdfunding? Smart money. There is no specific person behind it that will be able to guide you through how to spend your money. Sometimes it also comes with a very strange cap table. Especially if you do equity crowdfunding, you might end up having multiple shareholders. That again, there are ways to fix it, but I am again oversimplifying things so that you have a broader understanding of the ups and downs of every platform. White labeling is a huge deal. In so many cases, one of the ways that you can try to sell your company's product is just say that, you know what, we create a platform in Warsaw. You want to make it in Krakow? We just copy this and just write W to K, and then after that, this would be for you in the other side of the world. So this is also another way you can try to make money out of your company. Razor and blade is a very interesting thing, guys. I used to work in Canon. If you really want to make Canon bankrupt, just keep buying printers and never buy the cartridge. Like, this is how it works. There are sometimes minus 10% margin on the product, and there is 70 to 80% margin on the cartridge. But it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. Software houses. Sometimes a senior person in the software house has 70% margin, and the junior person has minus 10%. So you take a look at a junior person that you can find, and I was like, wow. So if I would like to even hire this software house, it's going to be cheaper. But then there are 4 junior people working on your product, and you really feel like my product is not moving forward. And I was like, oh, we have this senior person who's very expensive, but he's going to fix all of your problems, and that is the 70% of it. So there are so many ways you can try to work around your idea so that you will be able to find the right way to monetize everything for your company. And also, as I mentioned, it's a soup. You have to find aggregation of most of them so that your company is going to work properly. Also, companies works customer to customer, companies works business to business, and business to consumer. TikTok and these new platforms, they revolutionize this whole thing. Right now, you can also do consumer to business. That is literally the reverse of what you had on the other side. And direct to consumer that I already mentioned. Lots of different sources of capital. I would go through it when that would be the time for our source of funding. I just want you to see at least how many different ways are out there for you to have that. A venture debt has 0 equity in your company, but you better return the money. A venture capitalist might take a part of your company, but they will share in the success and the failure of your company, depending on the term sheet. And at the same time, you can do IPOs, you can do ICOs, you can do security token offerings, you can go to private equity, get money, you can get mortgages. Lots of different ways you can try to have that. And in some really rare cases, startups make money out of selling product. But you really don't have to sell product. And the fact that you're not laughing is very scary. So guys, I'm going to start this one and I'm going to very quickly finish this. How many of you know the golden circle? 50%? Please, when you are trying to talk to people, don't jump and try to tell them what you are doing. You have to start, first of all, to have a better rapport with the other person. Why are you doing this? the moment that you start with the core of what you really have to do, you can peel it out and then try to start with talking about what we are doing, right? So when you start from the what part, you basically just see everybody, to a good extent, before they will run out of business, they know what they are doing. But barely people have a proper understanding of exactly how they are doing it. You know, just don't touch it because it works. But when it comes to why, barely people know that. And that is the scary part, because why is the reason that your organization exists. And if all you do know and what you suggest is just what you have around it is what, people always buy your product for the wrong reasons. When you are inside the Thursday gathering, when you're inside a venture cafe, we talk about our values with you. We talk about how we would like to somehow add value to the ecosystem, because that's why we are here. What we're doing, we organize events. We do brand awareness for different companies. We try to encourage you to have more non-alcoholic drinks than alcoholic drinks. And then we go back to the whole idea of what we're doing, we organize events. So the what is the end part. Don't say that, would you like to come to the event and then peel it back. That would be the person that is not going to talk to you after that. So this is also how you have to talk about your ideas and your startup. There is a whole different things. How many of you guys know the value of death? I mean, not the place, but one person. Nice. VCs also have the same problems as you guys have. So in the beginning, in the pre-seed part, you have no money, but you also didn't lose any money. That's usually where somebody comes and put their money in your company. But the reality is that the more you work with your company, the more you go in the minus. So in the research phase, you're technically just taking somebody's money and don't give them anything. That is one of the reasons that please don't go to an average investor and say that give me the money for my startup because it's going to be profitable. It's misleading, because in the beginning you take their money and not only you cannot return the money, you're even going to ask for more money, and they just have an idea that you're definitely are going to make a mistake, because an average investor gives the money, you buy an apple, and then you sell the apple and give them back. Next step is the development part. You do basically, you go all the way to the technology transfer. You're just saying that, okay, so I need a bit of more money, so pre-seed is the first one, seed is the next round, and then you just say that, you know what, I'm just going to make an intellectual property for myself. It costs lawyers, it costs more research, you make a lot of mistakes. You are in minus few 100,000, if not millions in minus, and you're still saying that I do something good. You take a look at Uber, you take a look at these big companies, and then all of a sudden you see that these companies are very comfortably are in minus $1 billion, and all the investors are still behind the idea and the company. This is the reality of this. And the funniest part is this is not still the value of death. The value of death is literally in the funding gap. This is the point that right now you have the idea secure, you know exactly what you have to do, and now you really want a proper money. You need 5 to 10 million. And you know that if you get 5 to 10 million, then everything is gonna happen. Local ecosystem, PFR, NCBR don't have that much money. The tax system is not good. All of a sudden you end up having a perfect product for yourself. You spend all that money making it. Now nobody want to put their money in your place. This is the scary part. That is literally called the value of death. This is the funding gap part. In some countries this is A, in some countries this is B, sometimes C, but it's always there, guys. Remember, if you don't have the guts to do startups, right now don't do it because you're on the zero part. Because the startups is a roller coaster. It just goes up and down. People who manage to be alive during this valley of death, they are the one who basically go with the early stage of growth and the real growth that they have. But you know what's the problem? The media literally goes and show you the end parts. Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire. The other person having a Lamborghini, go to the moon, all the other funny words that you see out there. They're just cutting all of the story and try to only show you the growth parts. They don't show you the part that they're basically just, fetus position, in the corner, just starting to cry. They just see the end parts, and then it was like, oh, I wish I could be you. But what they don't see is those times that you were just thinking that, what am I doing with my life? This is what I want you to do after we come back. If you don't mind, we're just going to make it to 10 minutes just to be able to have enough time for the second part. I don't want you to have a perfect pitch deck. I just want you to be in groups and then it can be at least 2, please, because I want you to talk to each other. Just remember, if you ever want to pitch your idea, you have to start with what I'm saying. You have to establish a problem. Don't come here and say that my name is Adam, and I would like to make a watch, right? I am not interested in what you want to do. I have to find a problem. The moment that we start with a problem, I'm all ears. Also a problem that I can relate to. Second, introduce a solution. Again, there is a problem because I always try to find the time and I'm just looking at it and this is not the right one, so I'm just thinking, what if that solution can be on a wrist? Groundbreaking, right? So this is a solution that you're gonna have. And now, okay, there is a problem, you find a solution. Third part is the most important one, feasibility. What you really have to do for this one, all I need is 2 billion zloty so that I will be able to create a prototype, and then if this is not gonna work, then we will find another solution. Feasibility has to be something that the money is somehow justifying the problem. You are the person that, I'm not a carpenter and try to build a watch. I basically spend a few months or a few days trying to do that. If you have a group of 2 or 3, that's why I mentioned at least be 2 or 3 is way better. Today you dedicate your job to do this. Tomorrow Google comes after you and say that I'm going to give you the best salary ever. You forget about what you have, but when there are 3 co-founders, the other person does not let you go. That is why, again, this is important. After you do this, you have to talk about the benefits and the values. Okay, I understand that you're a person that you can make the watch for me, but tell me what is the difference between what you have and what others are doing? Why what you're doing is so unique compared to other people? And then in the end, what you can do is that, how does that make a difference, right? You fix all of those things. And then this is the last part, and trust me, it's more important than every other step, a call to action. Do you want my money? Do you want my advice? Do you want me to introduce you to somebody else? Do you want a partner? Do you need a technology advisor? And then your pitch is gonna be over. Remember, this can be up to 30 seconds to a minute. This does not have to be something long. A real problem, a real solution, how to do that, call to action. Even you can literally try to jump from number 3 to number 6. I prepared something for you guys. I hope you understand I spent a lot of time on this one. It's not a copy paste of anywhere else. To know the ecosystem, you have to know the top of the ecosystem. So, for example, you want to be an entrepreneur. These are the entrepreneurs. These are the people that they did something exceptional at what they had. And at the same time, if you would be able to walk with them and talk to them, you would be able to also learn a lot that is not written in the books because they are from your ecosystem and they did something that to a good extent might be related to what you would like to do later. I tried to put the entrepreneurs into one slide, but I promise you I couldn't. By the way, guys, the reason that I did this next to Matti is because Eleven Labs is the only real unicorn that we have in Poland, so please don't listen to others when they say there's more. But every one of them did something great. I'm sorry to say that also, like unicorn is not really an important word. A lot of these guys, there is some stuff that there are, for me, it's way more groundbreaking than just making a company that makes a lot of money. The second part is the journalist. Guys, we really don't have enough journalists and startups in this region. We really don't. I'm gonna be very honest. I watered down this one and I cut a lot of people from entrepreneurial side. Somebody has to come over and fix this problem. And the main problem is nobody pays for journalists. Ecosystem builders. Most of the people you see here, to an extent, they put their marks on this ecosystem. They added something, they changed something, they brought something, and to an extent, these are also the people that, to a good extent, you can somehow try to find them and then somehow try to get something out of that. The investors, again, kind of a handful of investors. And also, guys, please understand another thing that I also did here. Most of the time, there's a gender equality here. Don't say that, oh, there is no female VC or there is no female founder. There is. You just have to properly just go there and try to find it. And mentors. Mentors are not giving you the money, but they give you the right thing that you need for your company. Sometimes a good mentor is way more important than a VC or an entrepreneur. And also remember, somebody with 30 years of experience in your industry is not a mentor. Somebody is a mentor who knows how to talk to you and how to listen to you. Especially senior managers know nothing. They are great at managing mid-level managers. They don't have their hands dirty all the time. I'm not generalizing. I am generalizing. I'm not saying all of them don't have that. But I'm just saying that you have to, it's like a shrink. You have to talk to a person who can relate to what you have and knows how to talk to you. And also corporations, also don't underestimate this part. If you can find the right person in a corporation, you can easily just have a massive hack into your system. You meet a person that is inside a corporation, they can listen to you, they can tell you that if you go a little bit here and pivot a little bit to that side, then I will be able to bring you to my organization and I will be able to do something with what you have. So guys, this is what you're gonna have later. I don't know how to distribute it, so I would just take one and give back to this part. And the same here. And I also really appreciate it come back because the last time when people went for recess, I think some people forgot that where they would have to come back. So these are the questions, guys. So I technically made 5 questions for startups, 5 for venture capital, 5 for talent, and 5 for corporation, and 5 for media. So I hope there will be at least 1 copy for everyone. Something wrong?
2 pages or 1?
There are page 1 and 2.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, just pass it to the.
I have just 1, so.
Written one. I mean, you're going to be in the group together, so if there was not enough printed, that I hope it is enough printed, then you can try to just see from somebody else. And guys, in case that you need a pen, I also have hopefully enough pen here, in case that you don't have it on your side. So, just remember, so these are the questions. When we come back, I want you to find exactly which one of them you want to be, and then after that we will talk to each other. You can talk to a startup from a VC point of view, you can talk to a media to the startups, and then I want you to come back and during the last 15 minutes, what we are going to do together is try to see the problems and how you really have a problem to talk to other people, okay? So with that, I almost finished it in 30 seconds after the time. Let's take 5-10 minutes is good to you guys? 5 minutes? Are you fine with 5?
Yeah.
Perfect. So just spend 5 minutes, get some water, and then come back, and then we do the rest. Thank you. Give me a second, and then